You are now tuned in to Discover Your Potential with TV, radio, talk show hosts Dan Gilman and Anna DeVere. So listen, participate, and be inspired. Know that you can discover your potential. Here they are, Dan and Anna.
We have a special, amazing episode for you today. He's an amazing guy and actually dear to my heart and actually family to me. And he was a dear friend of my mother's, and his name was Ron Hayden.
Dan, I think you and I bumped up our wardrobe just because Ron is such a big personality that we had to bring some color to the mix. I'm not going to say we've been billed as boring, but I just think we wanted to match the energy of this guy. Yeah. So I think we brought color to it. Can't wait to talk to him.
Let's bring his energy to the room. Mr. Ron Hayden.
Hey!
Actually, I didn't even say this, but he is the voice at the beginning of the program when he introduces us.
Mr. Ron
Hayden. Mr. Ron Hayden.
Here to help you discover your potential, and we all have it. So it's a pleasure to be here. We've been talking about doing this for quite a while, and I recently met Anna, and what a great combo Dana is. There's your Hollywood name.
Here we go.
Of course, and it's just great to be here because you guys are a lot of fun.
We're going to change that. Discover your potential with Dana. So here we are, Ron. So I'm so blessed and so glad you're here today. And just the audience probably doesn't have or doesn't really know our background, but I remember I was like maybe not that small, but I was pretty small as a kid. And I've known you pretty much I've known you my entire life, actually.
Yeah.
And my mom was really close to you. She was actually on radio, WHJJ, and that's where you both met. I'd love to hear more about that. And I was thinking, could you share a little bit about your journey into voice acting and how you got started? And also, were you always inclined towards impressionists or mimicking voices, even as a child?
Yeah, even as a child, I will have to say, and I will have to say, your mom, influenced me greatly. She cheered me on like my own mom and was like a mom to me because my mom was living down in Florida. And, and I was always interested in the spirit world. So I completely resonated with Cindy on that. And, she often gave me advice and gave me guidance. And it was just a great pleasure to have her, around the radio station, and then, away from the radio station. She just had always had, you didn't have to be sitting in her office to get her advice and her guidance. She was a great friend and like a second mom to me. And so I always called Danny my little brother. And Danny, I find out, he always looked up to me. Well, he did physically. I was a little taller. And really, those early days at the radio station, as I mentioned, I was doing some voices for the FM side, morning comedy type of things, celebrity drop-in voices, and then, of course, I met your mom. It was a small radio station. It was easy to meet people. And, I can just some of the things. I mean, she recommended David Dwyer, our favorite chiropractor. So many things. She was, like I said, so helpful and just great to get to know. But certainly I was intrigued by what she did and what she was able to do. So that's why she was such a good giver of advice, because she had that insight, that deep insight, and that special ability to know what's happening with people.
You want to talk a little bit about your process? I guess one of the things that I'd like to know is, living or dead, have you ever connected with somebody that you've portrayed that gave you just that extra bump of an experience, or as a real life celebrity ever contacted you and had an extraordinary experience, or somebody that you've spoken to that you've mimicked?
Yeah, I got to meet a few when Merv Griffin bought the radio station in Providence, and I went down to do a remote radio broadcast, he brought in a lot of celebrities, and one of his celebrity buddies was Bert Lancaster.
Oh, wow.
So there I was. I'm not usually in front of someone doing their voice. So I said, "Excuse me, Mr. Lancaster. I've had the great pleasure of mimicking you to my friends and family." I never said I did a commercial or anything like that, or even radio comedy. But and so I did in front of him. I sort of said, "It's a beautiful day today, Mr. Lancaster. But if you could, I bet you would make it rain. You would make it rain and feed all this beautiful greenery with God's great water from the heavens." And so he just laughed and said, "That's pretty good, Sonny. That's pretty good." And so there I got to do Bert for Bert, and he was a classic. He was of the age probably when he was doing Field of Dreams, because I think he really had like the raincoat and the briefcase. Like his little suitcase he looked just like he stepped off the field with Kevin Costner from Field of Dreams. So that was really fun. And some of the other celebs down there were hysterical, especially Leslie Nielsen. He's always the jokester, always the prankster. He had the whoopee cushion, putting it under everybody who's sitting down, and everybody's blowing farts, and it was just, he just cackles and laughs away like a little kid. And really fun. But through the years, I've got I had to call someone up as Ronald Reagan, and they'd put me up to these prank phone calls, and I'd call and say, in the craziest calls, their birthdays and anniversaries and things like that. But through the radio connection, early on, there were a lot of fun things to do. Because it was a rock and roll station, I got to be a little bit of risque. It's for the late night people. I would do these celebrity orgasms. Yeah, so it was real silly stuff.
Wow.
Really like the old Celtic announcer, play-by-play Johnny Most. And one of his things to say when someone was dribbling and looking to was fiddle and diddle, doodle and daddle. So he was a heavy smoker, see? And so you can imagine if Johnny Mosey's fiddle, diddle, daddle, fiddle and diddle and daddle and oh my, and crazy. So, with the local people who knew Johnny, there I was, giving them something they would never think of imagining, if you will. Imagine, if you will. It was kind of a highlight zone, not the Twilight Zone. It was the highlight zone. It was the highlight of their life to hear something they would never. And I have other stories of that.
I love to hear those.
I kind of want to have, like the Ron series, because these are like, they belong in all different places, but I
hear an echo. Sorry.
You hear an echo now?
Yeah, from you.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why does it?
Yep. Yeah, it's an echo from you. Sorry.
How about now?
Can you turn down your speaker volume on your Mac? Yeah. Or it's on your phone, isn't it?
And we also know them for Rococo.
Okay.
Why do I hear an echo? Sorry, Ron.
How about now?
Can you? Oh, hold on. Okay, let's go back to recording. We're live. Where were we? So
Ron,
stories.
I love these stories. I'm wondering, can you talk about you've gone across different platforms? Is that hard?
It's really echoey.
It's too bad.
It's really echoey. I don't know where it's coming from.
Darn it! This is what you always use the same.
Try it now, Anna.
Okay, how about now? Is that better?
It's still not adding the echo cancellation. I added that on here.
Huh.
I don't know why it doesn't.
Same thing you always do when you record a show. This is the way you always do it.
Let me turn down the volume here, the mic volume, see if that helps. Try it now.
Okay, better? Is that any better? Check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Checking. It's all bouncy.
Yeah. Yeah, we
I mean,
never
it's
had this
not-
issue.
Yeah, we're sensitive to it, but I don't think it's going to make
Right.
a big difference. It's not ideal, but it doesn't sound.
Okay. Anyway,
I don't think it's going to be obvious.
we can just keep going. Sorry, Anna. Go ahead.
So, Dan, do you want to take the majority of
No, you can talk.
put tape over her mouth? I keep my questions shorter.
No. It's fine. It's fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
You were asking, and I'll have to edit this in.
No.
All right, we're recording.
We're recording.
Ron,
Quiet on
I'm
the
so
set.
curious about
Sorry.
the different platforms that you've covered. Anything from toys to.
Sorry, can you start that over? Because I jumped in when you were talking.
Okay.
Okay, on 3, 2, 1.
So, Ron, I'm so curious about all the different ways your voice has gone out, from toys to corporate gigs. Is there a big difference in the platform and how you approach it? What are the challenges of that?
Yeah, right. The good news is that being an impersonator for so many years, impressionist, and doing so many different things, that I guess it was easier for me to adapt to doing the long, boring corporate e-learning narration for a power plant, or the way the AC systems work for the engineers on the airplanes for Boeing, things like that. To developing, doing a 2-day session for the Wisdom of Yoda doll for Hasbro Toys. So there's, 2 completely different things. One, lost my voice, I almost did. Drinking the throat coat tea and because you're getting down to here, and then get whispery and all the different levels of Yoda, or it was certainly easier for me to do Darth Vader for the lightsabers and the helmets, because I'm doing him, but they're processing my voice through, giving me some, that whatever process sounded best, whatever reverb or whatever processor sounded best. So they would play that back to me. So that would help me when I was actually, laying the tracks down. So that, just crazy. I mean, I gave you one of my lows. Now I got to come back with one of my high voices so you can get my range. If you get my drift, if you want to cut my cheese, that's what I'm talking about. No, Mickey, you're cutting the cheese. See, the problem, you get possessed is what happens, is spirit says, oh, he wants to play. And then, like you say, you're channeling the voices, the essence, the personality, the other dimensions, as we mentioned, the other dimensions. And here, all that's coming through. And so things take over. So when I'm doing a voiceover session, they go, okay, now, Ron, you read the script. Now do whatever you feel is coming through to you. And so whether it's a little bit of a love cub, these little panda love cubs, and you're just doing little sounds, or I did a Will Smith's Men in Black 2 doll for Sony. I actually was hired. Mike Myers approved my voice with DreamWorks to do the Shrek, the animated, it was lip sync on the fly for a Shrek a plush toy. And it was a rubberized face, full movement of his eyes and mouth. And wouldn't you know, the budget by Walmart and Target got cut. So they cut it down to just a regular, plush doll with a few phrases on it. But, were we having fun with that? I'm sitting there like in an outhouse, with the fart and the burping and the farting. I mean, that's how the session started. They wanted to get the try me button stuff down first, So here you are, farting and burping and like Shrek, and and just ooh, oh my, excuse me, and all this craziness. And, must have been the skunk cabbage stew. My apologies. And just so, just as much fun as you can imagine.
gosh.
Love it.
So is that one of your highlights? Do you have other favorite gigs in the year?
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you what, my favorite gig, and I'll have to hold up my little CD here, and it's on CD Baby, is Arnold and the First Family of California. So this is like what Von Meter did for the Kennedys. I did, the whole Arnold thing, and we went to a theater. My friend who was behind it, Alan Nair and his wife, she was born in Graz, Austria, like Arnold. So they were big fans of Arnold. They said, we got to do this. He brought his writers in, and we met down in his office in Fairfield, Connecticut. We went to the Fairfield Theater. We did a live press conference, and then we edited this whole thing together. I got to give you a quick sample because this is the one that I wrote. One of the ones was the Schwarzenegger meditation. Since this is based in a spiritual discover your potential show.
Perfect.
Did you
play
know?
it.
Absolutely. That my last name Schwarzenegger is a very profound meditation. Every 3 letters. So SCH. Shh. Be quiet. Be still. WAR. War. There's a war outside of you. You must be still and go within. ZEN, Zen. Go within and be like the Zen Buddhist monk. Egg, EGG. Find yourself inside the egg and be ready to be reborn. You break out of the shell with the last 2 letters, ER. Energy release. Like the poster behind me, this great light energy emits all around you in your true divine self. But on the CD, I have to be honest, I didn't say energy release. I said, elect Republicans. Because Arnold was a Republican and Maria was a Democrat. And so she's holding up, right there on her little sign, is a half donkey, half elephant animal that was animated on the cover of the CD. Arnold and the First Family of California.
Love that. I want to start my day with that meditation.
Yeah. I mean, you can just, you can go to CD Baby. You can pull it up anywhere. I think I have some of it. Of course, who has a CD player anymore? But you can pull it up on just about any, Apple Music, But Ron Hayden, funny thing, you put in Ron Hayden, and there's a country recording artist, Ron Hayden. Now, I'm not Ron Hayden, the country recording artist, and I don't know what that guy sounds like, but he doesn't do all the voices I do. So when you go to Ron Hayden, make sure it doesn't mix. It mixes between the country, his songs, and my samples or my tracks for the CD. Yeah. Pretty funny.
So I would imagine that you've seen the industry change so much in the last 25 years. So let's say you want to talk to somebody out there who wants to discover their voice actor potential. Yeah. What, if any, advice would you give them?
Yeah, I get that quite a bit. What's nice is I get contacted by the local vocational high schools and people who know me, and they're talking to people. They go, hey, I'm going to give you Ron Hayden's contact info. He'll tell you how, kind of what it's all about. In recent years, I don't presently have a membership, but there are many sites, of course, you know about Fiverr and a lot of these other type sites, but Voice123 and Voices.com are 2 of the top audition sites. So if you were looking for an artist, you would go there, and they would send out to artists that fit the profile you're looking for, and you would get a number of auditions by various, male and female, whatever you're looking for, whatever age, whatever you're looking for. It's on there. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of artists like myself who will get an audition in their email box. So many a day, depending on the tier of the membership that you buy, from $349, $399 a year to thousands per year. If you really want to, if you're really specializing and you're really doing, some top tier work. But you read some of the blogs about it, and it's 90% auditions, and 10% work. So you got to do your, like back in the day, I called the radio stations, I called the TV stations, the ad agencies, the marketing places to let them know about me. And you had, your reel and your resume, and you mailed stuff out. Now you have a website. Now you direct people to your website. So maybe you're doing an email blast and you're directing people to your website. So you get your website going and you have your samples and your certainly your best samples and voice samples on there. And you'll see mine at ronhayden.com. Very entertaining.
I love your website. There you go. You want to talk a little bit more about, what's available to you in terms of self-promotion. One of the things that I see you doing is just having a lot of fun. And I want to talk a little bit about what you're doing on your cooking show, because that just cracks me up. Yeah. I mean, talk about taking trends and ways and means and just, who wouldn't want to watch that?
Yeah. Here's what I always wanted to do. And my good friend Alan Nair, the entertainment lawyer in Fairfield, said he took me into New York, introduced me to people he knew at the Food Network and Saturday Night Live back when I was in my 30s, maybe 40s at that point. And, so those opportunities didn't happen for me. I probably would have had a hard time, moving into New York with my family at that point, my young family. But really, I don't do but I always wanted to do Cooking with the Stars. So you got Dancing with the Stars. Why not Cooking with the Stars? So, of course, Danny, you would say, well, you've got to do Julia. You've got to bring in the butter, whether it's room temp, clarified, melted, frozen, whatever it is, you got to bring in the butter if you're doing Julia, and so, but any star, whether it be, Jack Nicholson, how do you jack up a beautiful veggie omelet? You do it with Jack. I show you how to jack it up with spices, jack it up with Jack cheese, and he would probably jack it up with a Jack and Coke. I don't know. That's Jack for you. But really, I always thought Cooking with the Stars would have been fun. And I did set up my cooking show in my own home. I had a friend do the video work. It was a series of 34 episodes for a local market, because the market guy, the owner, said, I want people to know what to do with the specialized ingredients I have in my market. So I took you shopping there, interviewed people who worked there, customers, all kinds of stuff, had them involved, then brought you back to my kitchen, reviewed the ingredients, and you'll see that on What's Cooking with Ron Hayden for Belmont Market. And I got to, he didn't want me to do a lot of the voices because it wasn't a comedy show, but I kept it entertaining. I kept it entertaining. And I'll tell I'm not tooting my own horn here, but I guess I am. I don't think I seldom did a second take of anything. I just let it rip. I had never done a cooking show before, and I just love what I'm doing so much that I just let it rip. I told you what I was going to do. I guided you through what I was doing, chopping, slicing, and dicing, took you back to the cooktop and put it all together. And I did flambe. I did Asian food. I did even dessert pizza. So French and Asian and American. I did lobster eggs Benedict and did a little neck clam Bloody Mary with the clam juice and all kinds of stuff. So had a lot of fun with that.
Sounds like fun.
I think you should have a legit cooking show. You are a master foodie, not just a master of voices.
Yeah, I'm into it. That's why they call us foodies. You're just into it. And then people they'd say, well, we need recipes. I'm like, recipes? This is just my creative outlet. Open the refrigerator door and pull it out and put it together. Right, Dan?
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, actually, not to bring this up, but I remember when my mother was alive and used to come over, actually, you and Donna used to come over fairly often. And actually, I think it was actually before your kids were born.
Yes.
And I remember my mom used to make these huge platters of food, and then you'd bring huge platters of food. So we'd have like the smorgasbord of really kind of good hearty Jewish food, and then other. It was great.
Oh man.
I remember
Yeah.
her like
Oh.
rotisserie chicken, and then you'd bring salad. It was great. I just remember those
we
days.
still
That was
do a
fun.
great salad. We get a share from a local organic farm, and we still, to this day, love a great salad because everything goes with it, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're pretty much pescatarians these days. We don't do much meat, so but there's a lot of good meat substitutes. Yeah, sure.
Speaking
Don't
of
get me
which,
going.
my favorite of your commercials, and I don't know how much of this is appropriate for airtime, but was your Bogart barbecue commercial.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
my girlfriend there, Barbie Q. Right, the Barbie movie was out recently, but I don't think Barbie was much of a barbecue. I don't think she had a St. Louis smile and a rack of ribs that'd make any man's chili boil. Yeah, what was it about her? Her collared green eyes or her tender baby back? Her meaty chicken thighs or that hickory smoked perfume? Ah, barbecue. Even when she passed wind, it smelt like heaven.
I love it.
Nothing is inappropriate these days.
Yep, that's true.
But really, no. And Bogey, of course, he totally respected Barbie Q, but he just loved Barbie Q, and he loved Barbie, and he put them together, and he just couldn't help himself. It was just too tasty to pass up. We actually did a video commercial, and the gal who was a rep for the local Fox 64 put on a great dress, and she could show her tender baby back, and she pulled up her dress and showed her meaty chicken thigh, and we did a video, and the owner of the restaurant put on a trench coat, and so I'm narrating the thing as
lost her again.
Bogey.
We lost Bogey.
Ah, shoot.
Here's McCall. I'm back.
Yeah, she's
Can
back.
you hear that?
She's a tender baby back as she's back. that's Barbie Q. See, she's in and out. She's interdimensional. I wish I could have co-starred with Barbie Q. One of my great movies would have been the Barbecue Queen, not the African Queen. She was a barbecue, the Barbecue Queen. Yeah, there's an outtake.
Yeah, I'll edit that out.
Oh boy.
Love that though.
Oh boy. Now we gotta keep the bloopers.
I'm gonna have to watch the entire show. Not that I would watch the entire show, but I've got to watch the entire show to like, there goes Anna. I gotta cut her out.
Oh my gosh. All right, I'll keep notes.
Too late.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Are there any impressions that you want to master in the future? Is there like another next chapter for you of things that you, I don't know, on your bucket list of voices?
Yeah. Right now, since a lot of my recent work has been, e-learning narration work. It's better paying work and it pays the bills. And there's been less of that in recent years. As what happens is there's more and more people easily getting online post-COVID, working from home, getting into the voiceover business. So unless I'm doing work for people I've done work for in the past, there's less new work unless I'm knocking on a new door and getting rediscovered and rediscovering my potential. Well, now one of the voices that I wanted to do as a young impressionist was Johnny Carson, and it wasn't easy at first, and then I think the more that I just played with it, and just there's so many different ways, So what you have to do, you don't, like Rich Little used to impersonate specific scenes from movies, but the improvisational aspect of just bringing the voice and the essence of that celebrity or whoever it is into your being, like we say, channeling them. And then, like if you said to me, do Johnny Carson talking about, making a great stir fry or something, you know, and a cellophane noodle. You know, I would say, you know, you've got to have your Thai sweet chili. And then I use the cocoa aminos instead of the soy because it's less salty and it's just more unctuous, you see? And then, you know, you got to dice your vegetables so that they are of similar size, you see? You want them to all be done at the same time. You don't have to be putting one thing and then this thing and taking it in and out of the wok. No. You want to mix everything into the wok together. And then the noodle. You don't want to boil the noodle. You want to soak the noodle. And that's for all you men out there. They're taking the little blue pill. Don't boil the noodle. Soak the noodle. Don't get it too hot. oh boy. I want to tell you. There it is. So you're getting some. Dr. Johnny is giving you medical advice while he's teaching you how to cook. And so after you get that soaked noodle into that big bowl with your sauces and your veggies, you're just tossing it. You're just tossing it and mixing it. Did I mention garlic? Oh boy, you gotta have your garlic in there.
Garlic with noodles. Yep, I gotta.
Boy. Yeah.
I remember you. I remember you
Cheers.
doing some Muppet impersonations too. I used to love your Kermit.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing about Kermit and whoever kind of took over after Jim Henson, and that was the Junior Henson, I think. I thought to myself, well, geez, my Kermit is kind of like Beaver Cleaver. It's kind of like a young Beaver Cleaver, only you add this back of your throat sound into it, and you kind of get, gee, Wally. It's kind of like, gee, Miss Piggy.
Yep.
Boy, it's really something when certain voices cross over like that. It kind of gets mixed up in the synapses of your brain. Right, Wally?
Wally, Baber, it's time to come down for your barbecue. I tell you, see, I'm getting taken over. I'm getting taken over. Things just start to mix in. There's a stir fry of voices going on in my head. It's nuts. But Kermit, and it's so funny because I got flown down to Texas to the Barney Studios at one point. Because so there I was a real good Barney.
Oh my God!
And I mean the original Barney.
I know. My son used to love watching Barney.
You know, bumping up and down in my little red wagon, and so then
Yep.
there was a new Barney and another Barney, and then the Barneys didn't sound like the original Barney, but so
They're all mixed up.
You remember when Baby Elmo became a thing? Like Baby Elmo was huge, right?
Baby Elmo was huge.
Hit Entertainment, which owned Barney,
Watch out! I can do an Elmo.
brought me down.
Oh, 2 Elmos in the studio. His evil twin. Can you be my evil twin, Danny? Uh-oh. Wow. You go way up high.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh. I have a brother.
I remember that
That's so
Baby Elmo.
funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny. So Hit Entertainment thought Baby Barney was a great idea, and I thought,
no.
wow, this is great. So twice they flew me down. I did sessions, and Hit Entertainment sold sold the Barney property, and whoever took it over, they kicked that under the rug. So that opportunity went away. A lot of crazy opportunities went away for me. It's so funny. I mean, but there are no mistakes. Everything, you know, I'm sitting here today doing what I'm supposed to be doing and being who I'm supposed to be. So I think my spiritual maturity kind of taught me not to have. There's no mistakes. There's no regrets, and you don't worry about that stuff. You just keep stay in the now and keep moving ahead and looking for the good, because it's always there.
I remember.
Looking
I
for the
thought you
good.
did some Pee Wee Herman too, but maybe not. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I did a lot of Pee Wee Herman.
That's what I mean.
Because Wes's Rib House was on Dyke Street in Oneyville.
And so I would always do this,
Dyke Street.
And you'll be like,
Dyke Street.
It was a silly. It's inappropriate these days. I know,
yeah.
but you can't make fun of Dyke Street and do a Pee Wee Herman crazy thing at the end.
We might get bleeped out.
Yeah, even Bogey at the
It's
end.
going
of the
on
Bogey
radio, you
commercial.
know. It's actually going on radio, radio and TV.
Yeah,
You know, though, I think our Monterey market will love this entertainment, and you know, as you're talking and I'm thinking about possibilities, I would love to have a call-in show. You know how some celebrity chefs do call-in shows for Turkey 911. And I'm like, I could so see callers calling in to, you know, the Ron Hayden channel, knowing they're going to get advice from any number of experts. But, you know, if I called in just said, how do I know when my turkey's done? And you give me the voice of choice. I think that'd be a terrific call-in show.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to watch out for that, though.
And like all of a sudden, they go, "What does Sly Stallone know about turkey?" In the Rocky movie, Paulie threw the turkey out the back door. You know what I mean? I mean, it was so mad at Rocky because he said he was going to marry his sister. I think he threw the turkey out with the baby water or something like that, or the bath water.
No, it'd be funny. We get him to do the voiceover, then all of a sudden on the next line we have the actual person there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that would be. It's a fun idea. It's so fun because, you know, and this reminds me of when I did a was it not Knights of Columbus? One of the men's organizations invited me in as a chef to do a Caesar salad from scratch at, you know, a table side, and, you know, for the audience, and then pass around samples and talk about. And he introduced me as this Chef Pierre. So here I put on this Jacques Cousteau accent, and I'm mashing my garlic and my anchovy with the breadcrumb and a little bit of the horseradish, olive oil, and lemon. I'm squeezing my lemon. I'm breaking the romaine lettuce with the spoons because you always use the spoons, and the croutons and everything. I'm doing and people are writing notes how to make it. They're tasting, they're loving it, and then all of a sudden, my wife's uncle, who brought me there, stands up and said, "Chef, now you do some other voices too, right?" And here I go into some other voices, and people, you want to see how many people took their notes and threw them up in the air? They were laughing so hard. They're like, but this is a good Caesar salad. Well, yeah. As a waiter back in my 20s at the Biltmore Hotel in Providence, I used to make Caesar salad for the kitchen staff after work. I'd roll my Garrodon in and make it. It was one of my specialties. And I mean, what a hysterical. People would they couldn't believe it. But
so you wouldn't take Sly Stallone's advice on turkey, but the French guy sounds legit. I love Jacques Cousteau, by the way.
And you just don't know. You don't know. People will be like, "Well, yeah, I wrote it down. It sounds good. Is this legit? Does Sly Stallone know anything about how to poach an egg? What do you? Is this? Yeah, no. So we could have some fun. It would both be entertaining, and it would certainly kick up your culinary acumen a little bit too. I suppose, you know. Yeah,
I think there's a market for that.
Fun idea. That's a fun idea.
But in all seriousness, you know, we're talking about pivoting, and we're talking to folks who might be at that crossroads. Are there things left for you? Like, give me some idea if you were going to go for the heart right now and dig deep into what you believe is left for you in terms of purpose. What do you care about, Ron? What is on your mind lately of a niche for you?
That's a good question. And, you know, we talked off camera a little bit about my days as Captain Conservation. Doing water conservation program for kids from K through 5 in elementary schools all around Rhode Island. And that was some fun times, especially in the summer when I would go to pools and playgrounds and outdoor Earth Day events and things like that. And do my flush if you must, but frivolous flushing is for fools. And why wait to worry about water? Where will we wind up? And the wacky costume and the hat with the spout on the big shoulders, and it was all different shades of blue and water and cuffs and boots and the sunglasses and even the tight Superman shorts. Yeah. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, and yeah, in the state of the world and the environment the way it is today, if I could do maybe the voices of an animated piece, that would be rewarding. It's always rewarding to be on children's toys. So more toys to put my vibe and my intention and my energy, in children's toys. That's very rewarding to know that children around the world play with some of the toys that I've done for Hasbro, and games and so forth. That's it. And what have I never done? I never got, and even though I did a lot of Star Wars stuff, I never got considered to do any of the voices for the Star Wars animated series because Hasbro Entertainment is so big and worldwide. They're either using the original artists or they're using people from Canada, which has a very special program that's even funded by the government. They save money using Canadian talent. There's all kinds of things going on out there.
Sure.
And so, I have never had my foot on the gas enough to really go after a lot of the stuff that maybe I would have done. But sitting here today, I would entertain any opportunity to do something that, that would be, whether it be a character voice, a sound-alike, or anything that I could do that would bring light, love, energy, joy, laughter, all the good stuff. If I can bring that to what I'm doing, and just make a difference and be fun to work with, that's what people at studios would say. Oh man, Ron, when we know you're coming in, I used to go out to Connecticut to do stuff for Macmillan McGraw-Hill and narrate educational stuff for kids, books and things. Back then, when you had sound to books or whatever they were doing, you would listen along as you read or something. I forget how they put that package together. Then that all got centralized into New York City, and they started using New York City talent, and that went away. But they, say, Ron, I'm still in touch with one of the guys, and you come in, and we know it's going to be fun, and that was a big part of the joy that you don't get working remotely. You're just recording by yourself remotely. But the big part of the joy is going into a studio and working with the people, with the other talent. Anna and I go in, we're doing a voiceover session. It's a guy-girl ad. We're a couple, and we're doing a thing for whatever. It could be an insurance ad, or it could be something really fun and creatively written. And we get to be ourselves. And some of that, like some of your greatest actors will tell you that the scenes in movies and shows that they improvised turned out to be the best. And that's where all the good stuff is. That's where all the good stuff is.
I totally agree, Ron Hayden.
Right,
I feel
right.
like that's the future for anybody that thinks AI is ever going to replace that improv ability. I would like to say, though, I think there's something metaphysical about the voice and the way the voice reaches the heart and the way the frequencies flow. Do you have any thoughts on that? Do you want to get woo-woo for a second or talk
Absolutely.
about... Okay.
Absolutely. Come
Really, if
on.
you are.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we touched upon it by saying that it's an interdimensional experience when you are playing a character that, like say you are doing some acting for something. I did some voice acting for the Marilyn behind the scenes, the Icon series for this group in California, and I had to do her psychiatrist, her photographer, some of her ex-husbands, from Joe DiMaggio to who was Peter Lawford, and some of the others. So you are, to me, I really felt Marilyn's presence. I felt the emotion because the actress, and she's an Australian actress who did Marilyn, was so good that she brought the best out of me. So when you're working with other talent that is so good, they're bringing the best out of you, and there was great direction there too. But you're really channeling the essence of, and you'd watch, these days it's YouTube videos of film and references of these actors, of these people in her life, and then you're delivering these lines, and you're getting the goosebumps. And when you get the goosebumps, that's that spirit energy. That's those from the other side, spirit who's with you. That's your higher self and interdimensional self. When that channel is open, I would imagine a jazz musician could feel the same thing. When they're just letting it go, and whatever's coming through, and that's what you're doing. Hey, when you're cooking, when you're singing, when you're doing so many things, you're letting go and letting it come through. And again, that's where the good stuff is. You call it the good stuff. Oh, what a pleasure.
100%. 100%. We're really talking about the creative process, which you can call it scientific or you can call it woo-woo. When you're really channeling something, it's just tapping that subconscious part of your brain. I guess what's so interesting to me, Ron, about you is that you're tapping particular people. So to me, that feels very alchemical. But you talk about the chemistry between an on-screen actor or a voice talent and in the studio time. It's all good stuff. Like I'd love to get in the studio and play off of you that way. But, for audiences that want to be entertained, I hope there's many, many more decades left in Ron Hayden, because you certainly are, not just bringing it old style, but legit. It's your improv, it's your talent that we love, Ron.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. I often would think through the years, I shouldn't be making a living mimicking other celebrities, so I didn't pursue it on a big level. I always felt I wasn't a comic, even though people say I'm funny, because I would just on the spot do, you say to me, do so-and-so, and as this, I did work with an improv group in Richmond, Virginia, called The Underground, for a short time when I lived in Richmond. And so we would do celebrity situations and crazy occupations. And so I would they would say, it could be Jimmy Stewart as a hairdresser, and I'm just relax now. I know I'm shaking here a little bit. I'm shaking. I'm a little nervous, see, because this isn't what I do, see. But I'm an actor, but I like to cut hair, see. So I'm just gonna kind of close my eyes and just take a little off the top. I'm gonna give you a little trim. Is that what you wanted? A little trim? How about a little curl? So you just don't. You mean anything's possible? You take one celebrity and a crazy situation. You just don't know. Archie and Edith Bunker are running they're cooks together. Like if you ever saw with Greg Kinnear and Matt Damon, they were Siamese twins and together, and they were working in a galley kitchen, and it was so cute. Stuck on you, something like that.
Right.
It was so good. But you can just imagine, Edith, don't you do the cooking today, because everything you cook turns to burnt. It's just, you're running around the house and you're doing other things. You're multitasking and you're not paying attention to what you got in the oven there. Will you pay attention to your cold beer and your newspaper, and I'll do the cooking. Don't worry. It's going to be fine. But, how fun would it be? You'd be like, yeah, I'm here for the eggs and toast, but it's these two in the back of the kitchen. That's where the entertainment is. I tell you, that's where the entertainment is. You never know who's going to drop in, right? Oh, I tell you.
Do you know?
No respect at all.
After my mother passed, I found out she dated Rodney Dangerfield.
Maybe that's it. Cindy's with us now, and she's saying, don't forget to mention Rodney. She dated Ron. Now that must have been crazy.
That was crazy. It was during his in between his wives.
Wow.
Yep.
That's it. I was going to say, I hoped that someone out there watching or listening is discovering their potential when they just let go and let whatever is coming through come through, and don't get in the way. Get out of the way and just have fun and open your heart and your mind, and don't be afraid to be yourself and whatever's coming through, because that's your spirit friends and guides and other dimensions of yourself coming through, and it's beautiful. Don't be afraid of it.
This is Cindy Gilman, and you're listening to Discover Your Potential. So until next time, do something nice for yourself, but do something nice for someone else.
Something about gravity pulls on my heart as if a memory. But was it only a tale that I've heard of the travelers who bend their way through time, and they can circle the moon in their mind till they find their way back home to you? And in the blink of an eye, I feel that hope that you've been holding